Today we're getting into the latest tech, EV, and Tesla news, including Tesla's new temporary lease prices, BYD overtaking Tesla, Rivian's R2 ready for delivery soon, and more, so let's get into it, and a special thanks to Lasfit for sponsoring this video. First up today, Tesla is in the process of releasing full self-driving FSD version 11.1.5 for the Cybertruck specifically. This particular update brings a number of previously missing features to the Cybertruck that have lagged behind earlier versions or versions on other cars. Some of these capabilities include the ability to start a trip via the FSD interface with one tap, then the reverse functionality when FSD is engaged. Previously, the Cybertruck couldn't do this while other cars could. This also adds pull-in auto park, which allows automatic parking into a spot or a garage. And then they say this specifically has improved control of shoulder drift, better lane and edge handling when driving near the road shoulder. And if you're a Cybertruck driver, you will be very glad to hear about this, because FSD did a terrible job at this previously. Now it is worth noting that we still haven't heard about summon or smart summon capability actually coming to this car, which is something that is very long overdue. But of course, it's because this car is so different and has such different things like all-wheel steering, so it presents added complexity for the FSD software model on Tesla's side. Still, they've promised it for a long time, so they probably should have realized that a bit earlier. Another thing coming along with this update is the full ability of auto shift. We see this on Tesla's other cars, but this hasn't been available fully on the Cybertruck yet. So now you'll be able to auto shift out of park, simply press the brake and choose which direction to shift into and clearly indicate that on screen. And then when you're performing something like a 3-point turn, you can automatically shift that way as well. A few early access users have been experimenting with the Cybertruck's version of FSD 14, and it seems to be doing pretty well so far, especially compared to version 13, so that is promising overall. I'm definitely curious to try it out, and hopefully it will roll out to all customers quite soon here. Next up today, Tesla is planning to introduce new extended battery warranty plans in 2026, which will give owners the option to extend coverage beyond the standard 8-year limit. Currently, for the Model S and X, those cars are covered at 8 years or 150,000 miles, whichever comes first. Model 3 and Y, long range and performance, are covered for 8 years or 120,000 miles. Model 3 and Y rear-wheel drive are 8 years or 100,000 miles. And then the Cybertruck is 8 years or 150,000 miles. Tesla says that all of their battery packs very much surpass their warranty limits here, and the details of pricing for this aren't final, but analysts expect it to be about $100 to $200 per month depending on the model and battery size for this warranty specifically. We'll see what the final version of this ends up being, but it could be some sort of subscription with just one price, or maybe a tiered thing depending on what kind of coverage you're looking for. Full battery replacement, a certain amount of degradation that's acceptable, or something like that. This comes after Tesla just introduced their new 7-year, 70,000-mile propulsion warranty. Overall, it seems like this is a pretty good idea and something that will definitely make owners happy, that they can extend their battery warranty. Next up today, for Tesla's new vehicles, the Performance Model Y is coming very soon in the United States. You can already order it, but first deliveries have not begun, but people are starting to get notified of their delivery windows. Here's one customer's Model Y Performance that could come as early as November 19th or as late as December 24th with the current window Tesla is giving them. Then this one in black says it could be delivered as soon as November 11th, but it seems likely to be pushed back at least a little bit since that window, of course, extends all the way to December 9th. Either way, this is a cool development, and it will be the first car in the United States that we've seen from Tesla with that extra leg support that's adjustable and the larger center touchscreen. Now, previously, Tesla had announced that lease prices would be increasing come November 4th, and that officially occurred. Now we can see that for the Model Y Premium rear-wheel drive, leases start at $479 per month, and then for Premium all-wheel drive, it's at $569 per month. Leasing is not available for the other trims yet. But on the homepage for the Model Y, they indicate that this could be temporary. They say for a limited time, which indicates that a further price increase could be coming quite soon here. They wouldn't list for a limited time if a price decrease was coming in the near future. For the Model 3 Premium rear-wheel drive, leases start at $329 per month, Premium all-wheel drive is $459 per month, and then Performance all-wheel drive is $779 per month. Again, here they say that this is for a limited time. Then for the Cybertruck, leases start at $729 per month for a limited time. For purchases, the Model Y and all its trims except the Performance model have 3.99% APR available if you're purchasing and financing that way. And then for the Model 3, all trims except the standard version have a 2.99% APR deal available. It's interesting to see this all move around because the standard model should be getting some of these discounts, but it's not because it's so new. But production is well underway for that car over at Giga Texas specifically. I'm curious to see how well this car actually does in practice because they're definitely ramping production, but it seems like a car that might not be all that popular, at least at its current pricing. So maybe Tesla is planning to use some of these for their robotaxi network, although it doesn't have a rear screen, so maybe that won't make sense long term. Before we go any further, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Lasfit. Lasfit makes a great set of durable all-weather floor mats and cargo liners for the refreshed Model Y specifically. These liners are designed with precision to fit perfectly into your Model Y, and they're heavy-duty enough to protect your interior in all climates and situations. I love these mats in particular because I often load drums into my car with the rear seats folded down, and this protects them. Beyond just protecting the interior though, they give it a more premium look. Tesla's included mats are just basic carpet mats that are hard to clean, only cover the footwells, and don't look particularly great. Lasfits, though, are a sleek, perfect fit that are extremely easy to clean while remaining comfortable under your feet. They're all stain-resistant, waterproof, and anti-slip, and no matter what is spilled on them, whether it's sand, food, juice, mud, you can just vacuum it up, rinse it off, or wipe it down. I've had mine for about 2 months on my Model Y, and all I need to do is rinse them down occasionally. Good as new. Their durable design and high-quality materials ensure that they won't break down or deform under daily use, or even heavy wear and tear in extreme conditions. This mat's environmentally friendly TPE material is also more flexible, durable, and resistant to wear and tear than traditional rubber mats. It's also fully recyclable and free from harmful chemicals, making this the most safe and sustainable floor mat option for your Model Y. To check out the Lasfit floor mats for yourself, click the purchase link in the description and comments below, and use discount code RS20 for 20% off. Next up today, very soon here, we'll be hearing the results of Tesla's shareholder vote on the proposed compensation package for Elon Musk that could be worth up to $1 trillion over the next decade. This is structured as 423.7 million Tesla shares, split into 12 tranches of 35.3 million shares each, contingent on reaching specific market caps and operational milestones. These milestones include Tesla hitting a market capitalization of $8.5 trillion, delivering about 20 million vehicles, operating 1 million robotaxis, and $400 billion in adjusted earnings. There are some public institutions that are definitely opposed to this pay package because it is so large for Tesla's CEO, but many are voting for it because of all of the milestones that are required. However, analysts are saying that if this package is approved, it could signal very much investor confidence in Elon Musk's leadership. But there is a risk here because if this fails, it kind of signals the opposite effect there, and Elon Musk has indicated that if it fails, he may not want to stick around. He said, quote, "Tesla is worth more than all other automotive companies combined. Which of those CEOs would you like to run Tesla? It won't be me." The results of this vote are coming in today, so we'll see what happens here, but it does show where Tesla plans to go in the future. Next up today, regarding vehicle sales specifically, BYD is starting to do incredibly well, specifically in the UK. BYD registered nearly 7 times more new cars than Tesla Inc. in October in the UK, according to data from the UK Automotive Trade Group. Year to date in the UK, BYD's registrations jumped more than 6-fold, while Tesla's declined about 4.5%. Now, part of that is because BYD is a little more new in this market. It's a very interesting thing to watch because BYD is very competitive because they have these affordable, cheaper EVs. From Tesla, we're only really seeing these more affordable versions of their same cars, so we'll see if they need to be a little more competitive there in the future in order to hold their spot in markets like this. Next up today, there is a ton of growing competition in the robotaxi world, and a lot of these companies actually have Tesla beat in a number of ways. When you look at the overall picture of things, a lot of people think that Tesla is very ahead because of the amount of data they are collecting and more, but when you look at the cars actually on the road providing driverless rides without a safety monitor, Waymo definitely has everybody beat. And Waymo is now expanding. They're planning to launch commercial driverless robotaxi services in 3 new cities very soon. First is San Diego, California, then Las Vegas, Nevada, and Detroit, Michigan. Las Vegas is interesting because I'm surprised they haven't been there previously. Because if you go to Las Vegas, there are a number of robotaxis available there, like Zoox, which launched fairly recently. It's in a fairly small zone, but you can see other robotaxis as well from other companies and many different types of vehicles testing out there. So it makes sense that Waymo is going to be getting there soon. So far, Waymo hasn't provided an actual launch date for this, but they said the rollout is expected next year. They currently operate in 5 U.S. cities: the San Francisco Bay Area, Los Angeles, Phoenix, Austin, and Atlanta. So for these new markets, they still need to obtain regulatory approvals. They already have a license for autonomous ride-hailing in California, and then in Nevada and Michigan, they will need additional permits and authorization. For example, Michigan needs a Transportation Network Company permit, and Nevada needs testing approval from its DMV authority. Waymo is also looking to add a new vehicle model, the Zeekr RT, which is from China's Geely, into their fleet alongside the current Jaguar I-Pace SUV that we see all over the place. This Zeekr uses their 6th gen technology, so it should be more cost efficient overall and built a little more from the ground up for Waymo's use case. In general, this is just part of Waymo's grand plan of expansion to rapidly scale up to more cities, and in general, I'm excited to see this. They are a pretty cool experience and they seem to be quite reliable. Now those are the 3 first cities we'll see next year, but they also mentioned some future launches they plan, like Boston, Seattle, Denver, Miami, New York City, and Washington, D.C. I'm excited to see all of these new cities come to be and then try out this network in all of these different cities. Next up, over at Rivian, they announced that they delivered 13,201 vehicles in Q3 of 2025, which was up from 10,661 units in Q2. We had heard about those deliveries, but their revenue reached $1.56 billion, which was up 78% year over year. $1.14 billion of that comes from automotive sales, and then $416 million comes from software and related services. Their gross profit was $24 million, with automotive still losing about $130 million, but still improving year over year. They also expect 41.5 to 43.5 thousand deliveries to end up being the full number for 2025. The big news, though, is for the R2, which they say is progressing in a major way. The assembly facilities are complete, validation builds are underway, and deliveries are targeted for early 2026, so this could be coming up quite imminently here, which is very exciting, because this is their more affordable vehicle to take on things like the Tesla Model Y. And it's in that boxier shape from a company that people seem to really like, so I think it will do quite well. It's really just a question of how well they can scale it up and actually make it profitable. For the R2, Rivian has indicated that they plan to launch a launch edition variant first in early 2026. This won't be the ultra top spec tri-motor version, but rather a twin motor all-wheel drive setup for launch. And the base price eventually is expected around $45,000. One cool feature that they've announced that this will include is bidirectional charging, meaning that it can power a home or act as energy storage. That's something that I want to see more and more of in other EVs, and it's becoming more common, so it's exciting to see here. On top of this, the R2 will likely have a driving range of more than 300 miles in at least one configuration, so I'm curious to see what the full lineup is there. What does that $45,000 version actually deliver in terms of specs? At the same time, Rivian has also launched a new AI venture called Mind Robotics, and this is focused on industrial automation. They launched that alongside their e-bike brand called Also. So over at Tesla, you have them working on all of these different things under the Tesla name, but Rivian seems to be expanding quite a bit. Their CEO RJ Scaringe emphasized progress towards an electric, autonomous, software-defined future. So it's very much in a similar vein, but they have different names and ventures specifically outlined for those different pieces. Next up, over at Polestar, they've announced that the Polestar 4 will be the first EV to get Google Maps' new live lane guidance feature. This feature uses the vehicle's forward-facing camera and AI to analyze road signs and lane markings, determine which lane the car is in, and then provide both visual and audio feedback on which lane you should be in. On the driver display, you'll see the possible lanes highlighted for your route, plus a clear indicator of which lane you're currently in and which lane you should be moving into. Polestar labels this as part of their driver-centric UX strategy, and they say they aim to reduce driver stress, improve safety, and make missed exits or last-minute lane changes less worrying with this update. For the rollout, it's coming first to the US and then to Sweden in the coming months via an over-the-air software update. And then after, we'll expand into more markets and onto more road types. This is a continuation of the partnership between Google and Polestar. When you use a Polestar vehicle, you're very much using Google software, and it becomes very obvious there. And this partnership really started with the Polestar 2 back in 2020, when it became the first car to ship with Google's built-in software there. Here they're expanding, and it seems like they're delivering a pretty cool feature that kind of blends the real world with the software. Now over at Ford, their CEO Jim Farley has said that affordable EVs starting around $30,000 are, quote, right around the corner. These vehicles will be built on a new architecture, which they're calling the Ford Universal EV Platform. This is specifically designed for cost efficiency and flexibility. Ford says that sourcing is around 95% complete for these new vehicles, and the installation of equipment at its Louisville assembly plant will begin this year. The first model of these is expected to launch in 2027, and it will be a mid-size four-door vehicle, but not a traditional pickup that starts at about $30,000. To keep costs down, they plan to use lithium iron phosphate LFP batteries, which are overall less expensive, and they hope that these will enable lower-priced EVs as a whole. In that $30,000 price range, they're actually profitable. This has been in Ford's plans for quite some time, but this is a little bit of a shift in focus specifically to these lower-cost EVs, because they're facing declining EV sales and the end of the federal EV tax credit, which pretty much every EV maker is dealing with at this point. In general, I'm always excited to hear about $30,000 EVs being right around the corner, but we really just have to see them actually launch and scale before I'll get truly excited. Next up, over at OpenAI, they have announced a new deal with Amazon Web Services. It's a 7-year deal worth about $38 billion for cloud computing services. With this deal, OpenAI will gain access to hundreds of thousands of NVIDIA GPUs through Amazon Web Services infrastructure. This agreement actually comes after a recent restructure at OpenAI that removed an exclusive cloud provider tie with Microsoft. So it allowed OpenAI to diversify its infrastructure partners and then make this new deal. The deployment of this new compute capacity is slated to begin immediately, with full planned capacity by the end of 2026, and then potential future expansion into 2027 and beyond. Overall, we've heard about Amazon Web Services for a very long time, but this is a significant endorsement of their ability to handle high-scale frontier AI workloads. They're essentially showing that they really are a competitor to Microsoft and Google in this race overall. AI compute as a whole is going to be one of the biggest things into the future here, so it will be interesting to see how diversified this gets, or who maybe becomes the biggest player when it comes to this type of thing. Last up today, a Chinese EV maker called Aion UT Super, which is produced by GAC Group in collaboration with CATL, is launching a version of a new electric car with a battery swap capability that they say allows the battery to fully change in just 99 seconds. This uses CATL's Chaco SEB swappable battery pack. And this car is powered by a 54 kilowatt-hour LFP battery that they say has roughly a 310-mile range, but that is on the CLTC cycle, which is far more generous than EPA. The crazy part is this is a technology that some people would like to have, and it seems like one of those extremely premium things. But here it's coming in an EV that is starting at just $14,000. It's a smaller car comparable to something like the Volkswagen ID.3, but for those who prefer charging instead of swapping, it still supports standard charging, and they say it can get from 30 to 80% in about 26 minutes. There are several different automakers in China partnering with CATL on battery swapping technology, so it will be very interesting to see this grow in that market. That's something that Tesla talked about doing at one point, but totally abandoned due to lack of scalability in the United States, but we'll see how China ends up doing this into the future. It seems like one of those things that's probably overly complex for a large percentage of EV owners, but for some it could be a great option that's far quicker than filling up with gas or anything else. That's all the latest tech, EV, and Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see the 21 mistakes many Tesla owners make and how to avoid them, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.